You've been looking into mirrors your whole life, but most of the time you've never truly seen yourself. And I don't mean seeing yourself as fixing your hair. I mean seeing yourself as identity, as relationship. Because there's an invisible problem. You can repeat affirmations, visualize, and understand the theory, and still feel that nothing changes on the inside. The problem isn't a lack of desire. It's your self-image staying intact. And self-image isn't just an opinion. It's the set of signals your brain recognizes as me, your gaze, your posture, your inner tone, and the level of worth you allow without resistance. So today we're talking about the mirror technique, done the right way. No empty mysticism, and no rigid promises. You'll learn why looking into your own eyes can feel uncomfortable at first, why that discomfort is an important signal, not a mistake, and how to use a simple 3 to 5 minute daily ritual to rewire self-image, strengthen self-worth, and align emotion with identity. Here's the safety point. This does not replace therapy, medical care, or professional advice. It's a practice of attention, emotion, and behavior, and it can support real change when you use it with consistency and honesty. And a promise in the responsible sense. You won't manifest by magic. You'll change how you see yourself, and that tends to change your choices, boundaries, consistency, and presence, which increases probabilities in real life. Now let's get to the mechanism. And by the end, you'll have a simple protocol you can apply today, even on a hard day, calmly, without rushing. Before we go deeper into concepts, I want to give you 2 things that are missing from almost every mirror work video. First, a way to choose your level by the body, not the mind. Second, a 7-day mini-story with concrete details so you can feel what this looks like in real life. The reveal, hook plus invisible problem. A lot of people repeat sentences like, I'm confident, I deserve, I'm enough, and they fail. Not because the sentence is wrong, but because the body doesn't recognize it as visual identity. There's a silent collision. The sentence says, I am. The mirror says, I don't believe you. And when the mirror wins, it's not because it's right. It's because it's a recognition trigger. A mirror is where image and emotion meet at the same time. That's why it can work as a daily identity anchor. Practically, if your brain recognizes you as someone who is not worthy, not loved, not capable, not safe, then any sentence that contradicts that will feel like a lie. And a lie doesn't rewire. It creates resistance. Louise Hay observed this for decades in a simple, direct way. The beginning of change is not getting what you want. It's rebuilding the relationship with yourself. And here's what makes it even more concrete. You are not trying to convince the universe. You are trying to convince your inner recognition system. If your inner system recognizes you as someone who apologizes for existing, you'll act like that. If it recognizes you as someone who deserves and respects themselves, you'll act like that. Self-image drives behavior, and behavior drives what you can sustain long enough to become results. So why is mirror work so powerful? Because it combines 3 things in one place. Your image, the visual, me. Your emotion, the felt, me. And your inner language, the declared, me. Visual identity plus emotion plus declaration. That trio speeds up rewiring because it reduces the gap between what you say and what you recognize. And this is where people miss. They do affirmations without touching visual identity. Or they visualize without changing self-worth. Or they try to assume a state, but avoid their own gaze. You'll do the opposite. You'll look into your own eyes and build a pact with yourself through small, repeatable, honest steps. Why it hurts at first, and why that's good. If you've tried to hold eye contact with yourself for 30 seconds and felt discomfort, shame, irritation, nervous laughter, or the urge to look away, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you touched something real. Discomfort is a sign of a discrepancy between what you say about yourself and what you learn to feel about yourself. In habit language, you're installing a new pattern in a system trained for years on the old one, and that is exactly what you expect when a change is real. How to know your level today? A 30-60-second body guide. Instead of choosing a sentence based on the idea of what you want to feel, choose it by the body. Here's a simple map. Level 1. Relief. Jaw tight, forehead contracted. Chest tight and mental urgency. Fast urge to look away. A good sentence here. Okay, I don't have to solve everything right now. Level 2. Safety. Breathing starts to come down. Shoulders drop a little. You can hold the gaze longer without running. A good sentence here. I can take one small step with clarity. Level 3. Wholeness, for a few seconds. A bit more space in the chest. Less urgency, more simplicity. You can look without attacking yourself. A good sentence here. I'm someone who treats myself with dignity. If you try wholeness and the body locks up, it's not failure, it's a diagnosis. You go back to relief, do a small piece of evidence, then move up again. A 10-second template to choose evidence, without overthinking. Evidence equals 2 to 5 minutes, plus 1 micro-courage with no long justification. Quick examples. 2 to 5 minutes. Open the file and write 2 lines. Micro-courage. Send an objective message. No long justification. Say, I prefer it this way, once and stop. And a practical test for whether the sentence is believable. If your body reacts with irony, urgency, or anger, the sentence is too high. If you can say it without attacking yourself, it's at the right height. The base. Louise Hay plus Neville. Neuroplasticity without exaggeration. Louise Hay taught something that sounds simple but is deep. Healing begins in your relationship with yourself. Not healing as a medical promise. Healing as inner reconciliation. Stopping the habit of treating yourself like an enemy. And when you stop attacking yourself, something changes. You become more available, more regulated, less reactive, more able to sustain a practice. Now bring in Neville Goddard. Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The detail most people ignore is the feeling. It's not repeating sentences into emptiness. It's touching a state in the body, even for seconds, and repeating from that place. Mirror work helps because it gives you one focus point. Your eyes. And eyes are where the brain reads signals of truth. Presence, fear, avoidance, firmness, self-deception. One grounded way to think about it is this. The face is one of the strongest identity cues your brain has. You can lie to yourself with words, but it's harder to lie to yourself with your eyes and your breath at the same time. When people say, I felt weird looking at myself, they're often touching a real signal loop. The nervous system reads the face changes the emotion, and the emotion changes the story you tell yourself. Mirror work uses that loop on purpose. And if you've ever felt discomfort in the first days, that's not proof the technique is wrong. It's often proof you're not numb. You're meeting a pattern that normally runs in the background. You don't need to turn this into hard science to use it well. You only need the basics. The brain learns through repetition, emotion, and attention. Self-image is an inner map. When you repeat a new map with real emotion and sustained attention, you tend to form new associations. One author who complements this well, quick mention, no name parade, is Maxwell Maltz. Self-image works like a thermostat for what you allow. You can rise temporarily, but the system pulls you back to normal, unless normal changes. And that's what mirror work aims to do, change your normal. Now let's go to the practice. One less talked about detail, why the eyes open the system. When you look into your own eyes, you're activating a kind of presence that is rare in modern life. Most self-improvement happens indirectly. Reading, planning, taking notes, consuming content, imagining. All of that can help, but it's easy to stay in ideas. The mirror won't let you stay only in ideas. It brings you face to face with your emotional response. And patterns show up that normally stay hidden. The impulse to look away, nervous laughter, automatic criticism, a hardened stare, the feeling of, I can't love myself. That isn't failure. That is information. And information is the start of change. So here's a key principle. The goal of the mirror is not to feel love immediately. The goal is to build a relationship honest enough that you stop abandoning yourself. If for years you learned to treat yourself as a problem, it's expected to feel strange when you start treating yourself as an ally. You don't need to win by force. You need to train return. Return training is simple. Whenever you notice avoidance or inner attack, you go back to an accessible level and do one small piece of evidence. Why affirmations fail when visual identity doesn't change. Let's make it concrete with 3 typical scenarios. Scenario 1. You repeat, I deserve, but the mirror triggers guilt. The brain doesn't debate with words. It answers with learned emotion. The adjustment isn't repeating louder. The adjustment is switching I deserve to something more believable and behavioral. Today, I will treat myself with respect in one thing. Then you do the thing. Scenario 2. You repeat I'm confident, but your body tenses and you want to escape. Confident is a big jump. An accessible step is, I can be clear in one sentence. The evidence is saying the sentence. Scenario 3. You repeat I love myself, but your mind answers with sarcasm. Sarcasm is armor. An accessible step is, I can stop humiliating myself today. The evidence is not shrinking yourself in one conversation. It's not poetry. It's guidance. How to measure without paranoia. Internal metrics. Don't measure external outcomes every day. That increases anxiety. Measure 3 internal things. How many seconds could you hold eye contact without running? Did the inner tone become less aggressive, less sarcastic, more human? Did you complete your micro-commitment, yes or no? If those 3 improve over weeks, your self-image is changing. The hidden risk? Turning the mirror into theater. If you use the mirror to convince yourself and prove you're okay, you create an inner performance. Performance makes the problem worse because it reinforces falseness. The stronger path is the opposite. You look and admit the truth of the moment. Today, I'm hard on myself. Today, I feel insecure. Today, I feel ashamed. Then you choose an accessible level and do one small piece of evidence. That is maturity. That is real rewiring. A 45-second demonstration, as orientation, not performance. If you want to break the teacher voice and feel this in your body, here is a short demonstration you can test later, in a quiet moment. You are not trying to feel something huge. You are practicing a clean return. Step 1. 3 breaths. On the last exhale, release the jaw. Step 2. Look into your eyes for 5 seconds, softly. Step 3. Name the state. I'm tense, or I'm in lack. Step 4. Choose relief, not perfection. Okay? I don't have to solve everything right now. Step 5. Choose one micro-evidence for today. A 2 5-minute beginning. And here is the key. Do not leave the mirror without choosing evidence. Otherwise, you trained awareness without behavior, and that can turn into rumination. The mirror is the doorway. Evidence is the new map. Counterexample. What looks like mirror work, but is actually self-attack. Some people stand in front of the mirror and call it mirror work, but what they are doing is rumination. They stare at flaws. They repeat a high sentence they do not believe. They force eye contact while holding their breath. They leave without evidence, then judge themselves for not feeling it. That is not rewiring. That is strengthening the old map. The correction is simple and practical. Lower the line, release the breath, choose relief, and pick one tiny evidence you will actually do today. 7-day mini story with concrete detail. To feel how this works in real life, imagine Laura. Laura wasn't low self-esteem all day. She functioned, she worked, she talked. But when she had to be seen, she became someone else on the inside. Her pattern was simple. She saw herself in the mirror, and the thought came, "I'm not enough." Then she tried to compensate with effort. Effort without self-image becomes exhaustion. Day 1. She tried eye contact and looked away in 3 seconds. Instead of attacking herself, she did the minimum version. 3 breaths. Okay, just the next step. And a 2-minute piece of evidence. The evidence was writing 1 sentence she wanted to say at work and saving it in her notes. Day 2. She repeated, looked away less. Her line was, "I'm willing to treat myself better today." Her evidence was sending 1 simple message she had been delaying. Day 3. She held the gaze but noticed she was holding her breath. Small adjustment, 1 long exhale before the line. Evidence, a 10-minute walk without insulting herself, just out of respect. Day 4. The criticism hit hard. "This is ridiculous." She didn't argue. She named attack and went down a level. Her line became relief. Evidence, saying, "I prefer it this way," once in a conversation without over-explaining. Day 5. She held 10 seconds of eye contact. Not euphoria. More presence. Evidence, opening the file and writing 2 lines she had been avoiding. Day 6. She had a bad day and almost skipped. She did only the minimum version. That was the most important day. She didn't abandon herself. Day 7. She noticed the first real signal. The inner voice was less cruel. Not perfect. Less cruel. And she had completed 3 small pieces of evidence that week. That's what changes first. Return, inner tone, and consistency. External change comes later, when it comes, as a consequence of better choices, clearer boundaries, and more presence. 1 anti-perfect example, 3 missed days, then return. Now imagine Daniel. He starts on day 1, then life hits. Day 2. He skips and tells himself he will restart tomorrow. Day 3. He skips again, feels ashamed, and avoids the mirror entirely. Day 4. He watches more content, takes notes, and still does not do the practice. The old pattern would be, "I failed, so I'm not disciplined." That is self-image speaking. The return pattern is smaller. On day 5, he does the minimum version. 5 seconds of eye contact, 1 relief line, 1 2-minute piece of evidence. That is it. And that day matters more than day 1. Day 1 is enthusiasm. Day 5 is identity. I return even when I don't feel like it. If you want 1 honest metric, did you return the next day with the minimum? That is the practice. Example 1. Relationships. When you shrink to be accepted, imagine someone who tries to be easy, accepts things that hurt, swallows discomfort. Not because they want to suffer, but because their self-image says, "If I set a boundary, I lose love." In the mirror, this person doesn't need, "I am loved and valued," if that feels fake. They can say, "I can respect myself in 1 sentence today." The evidence can be small. Send a simple message without aggression. "I want to be honest. This doesn't work for me. I prefer it this way." You can't control the other person's reaction, but you can practice self-respect. Example 2, body. When you use self-attack to move. Someone wants to improve the body and does it through self-hate. They look in the mirror and only see flaws. Then they try to motivate through guilt. That can produce action for a while, but it often breaks consistency. A safer line. Today, I'll take care of my body out of respect, not anger. Evidence can be simple. A short walk. A more honest meal. Going to sleep earlier. No instant transformation promise. Just identity building. Example 3, work and creation. When you shrink before you begin, you want to produce, build, study, show up, and you freeze. Often it isn't laziness. It's self-image plus fear. You don't need "I'm brilliant." You can use "I'm someone who starts small and finishes what I start." Evidence is literal. Open the file and write 2 lines. Small is repeatable. That's why it works. Technique 1. The mirror technique in 3 to 5 minutes. This is something you do in a calm moment. It's not a real-time guided meditation. It's a simple, direct, repeatable ritual. Preparation, 20 seconds. Pick a fixed time, morning or night. Stand or sit with a simple posture. Take 3 breaths. Core step, 2 to 3 minutes. Look into your own eyes for a few seconds. No aggression, just presence. Name the state without drama. I'm in lack or I'm tense. Move 1 level up. If love feels impossible, start with relief. Say a line that is 1% believable today. 3 common execution errors and quick corrections. Error: saying the line too fast, as if you're trying to push through. Correction: slow down and let the line land in the body for 2 seconds. Error: holding the gaze but holding the breath. Correction: 1 long exhale and release the jaw. The line comes after. Error: choosing evidence that's too big. Now I'll change everything. And failing. Correction: choose a 2 to 5 minute beginning. The goal is return, not hero mode. The rule: the line must be small, behavioral, and true enough that you don't attack yourself. Examples: I'm learning to respect myself. I can treat myself with more kindness today. I can take 1 small step without destroying myself. A detail Louise Hay used a lot. Say the line with your name, as if you're speaking to someone you genuinely want to protect. For example, your name. I'm willing to treat you better today. That reduces the mantra tone and increases the relationship tone. Commitment step, 30-60 seconds. Choose 1 micro-commitment for today, 1 piece of evidence. A fast example: if you shrink yourself at work, don't start with "I'm confident." Start with, "Today I'll hold 1 simple sentence with respect." Then the evidence is saying 1 clear sentence in a meeting. Common error and correction. Error: using the mirror as a courtroom. Correction: treat it as guidance, not evaluation. Success criterion: you look away less over the days. You feel less shame or inner sarcasm. You complete micro-commitments more consistently. When the mirror feels hard, the safe way to do it. 3 common reactions at the beginning. Avoidance: look away, fix hair, grab the phone, nervous laughter. Attack: a critic appears, ridiculous, this won't work. Numbness: you look but feel nothing. All 3 are normal. Each has a practical response. For avoidance: reduce the dose, don't quit. If you can only do 5 seconds, then your measure is 5 seconds. Use micro-exposure. Days, 1, 3, 5 seconds, plus relief line, plus 1 small evidence. Days, 4 to 7, 10 to 20 seconds. Week 2, 30 to 60 seconds. For attack, replace a high affirmation with willingness. When I love myself is too high, start with, I'm willing to. Examples: I'm willing to treat myself better than yesterday. I'm willing to stop humiliating myself today. I'm willing not to abandon myself when I mess up. Then do small evidence that matches it. For numbness, go to the body, not the mind. Feet on the ground. Notice breathing. Release jaw. Say a simple presence line. I'm here. Safety point: if mirror work triggers intense suffering, panic, or hard memories, respect it. Adapt. Look at your face without focusing on the eyes. Look between the eyebrows. Use the front camera with a softer focus, or do 30 seconds and end with grounding. Common objections, direct answers. Is this narcissism? No. Narcissism is inflating the image to avoid vulnerability. This is the opposite. facing vulnerability and building self-respect. I feel anger when I look at myself. Anger is often protection. Name it as protection. Go down one level. Do one small evidence. Over time, the system learns you don't need self-attack to survive. I cry. Crying is discharge. If it happens, don't turn it into drama. End with one safety line and one small evidence. Tomorrow. Minimum version. The 21-day experiment. Simple structure, not rigid. 21 is not a universal rule. Treat it as an experiment. If you want structure, think of 3 weeks. Week 1, presence, eyes plus, believable line, plus evidence. Week 2, commitment, less avoidance, plus more micro-actions. Week 3, identity, less falseness, plus more recognition and behavior. Missed a day? Come back the next day with the minimum version. And to keep it real, write 1 line per day. Today I held X seconds and I did my evidence. Technique 2. Written identity statement in 5 lines. This is a complementary technique that supports mirror work without repetition. Do it after the mirror in 1 to 2 minutes. Quick mention, no parade. This written identity style was popularized in many identity change trainings by Bob Proctor. The value isn't the name, it's the format, clear behavior, repetition, evidence. Write 5 lines starting with, I'm the kind of person who. Always focus on behavior, not destiny. Here's a 10-second filter that keeps it practical. If your sentence describes a result you can't control, it's too abstract. If your sentence describes a behavior you can repeat, it's usable. Bad. I'm the kind of person who is always loved by everyone. Better. I'm the kind of person who communicates clearly and sets one small boundary. And if you want a simple template, I'm the kind of person who, even when I feel, that makes the line anti-perfect, which makes it believable. Examples. Pick 1 line per day. I'm the kind of person who protects my energy before I decide. I'm the kind of person who speaks with clarity and respect. I'm the kind of person who treats myself with dignity, even on a bad day. Common error. Writing grand, abstract things. Correction. Write small, repeatable things. Success criterion. At the end of the day, you can point to one piece of evidence that matches the line, and a practical adjustment. Choose 1 line per day, not 5. Writing 5 creates options. Living 1 rewires. Technique 3. 2-minute mental rehearsal. Practical self-image. For 2 minutes, imagine a simple scene where you usually fall into the old pattern. Then imagine just one difference. You breathe. You keep the gaze. You say 1 simple line. You take 1 small step. It's not a perfect movie. It's behavior rehearsal. Example. You avoid sending a message because of fear of rejection. In the rehearsal, breathe, write a simple message, send without shrinking, return to the body. Success criterion. You can see yourself doing a small behavior with dignity. Minimum protocol for bad days. 90 seconds. If you're tired, irritated, or short on time, look into the eyes for 5 seconds. Say 1 relief line. Okay, just the next step. Choose a 2-minute piece of evidence. Done. You didn't lose the day. You trained return. Common mistakes in mental rehearsal and quick corrections. Mistake 1. Turning rehearsal into a perfect fantasy. Correction. Rehearsal is behavior, not a movie. Keep 1 concrete difference. Breathe and take 1 small step. Mistake 2. Rehearsing something too big. Correction. Rehearse the beginning. Not, I change my life, but I start the conversation. Or, I write the first line. Mistake 3. Using rehearsal to avoid action. Correction. A good rehearsal ends with evidence. After rehearsing, do a tiny, real step. If you don't have privacy, adapt. 60 seconds in the bathroom, a softer front camera view, or looking at a fixed point. The core is the same. Technique 4. Sats at night. Neville, as orientation. Ersatz is something you do in a relaxed moment before sleep. Quick mention, no repetition. Neville Goddard described this state as fertile for imprinting feeling. Practically, it means you end the day with a short identity image, not with pressure. Choose one short scene that represents who you already are when you treat yourself with respect. This is not getting something. It's being someone. Examples of short scenes. You looking at yourself calmly. You completing a small commitment. You saying no with respect. You accepting a compliment without shrinking. You don't need to extend it. 30-60 seconds is enough if you do it consistently. Success criterion. You end the night with the body less in lack and more in safety. Short phrase library by level, so you don't get stuck. If you freeze choosing a line, use this rule. The best line isn't the prettiest. It's the one you can say without attacking yourself. Level 1, relief. Okay, I don't have to solve everything right now. Today I'll do the minimum with dignity. Level 2, safety. I can be consistent for 5 minutes. I can choose clarity instead of rush. Level 3, wholeness, seconds. I'm someone who takes myself seriously. I'm someone who keeps small commitments. Common error, choosing a wholeness line while you're still in inner attack. Correction, go back to relief, do one piece of evidence, then move up. Integration, a full protocol without inflating. If you want a simple full protocol, 5-8 minutes, mirror technique, 3 to 5 minutes, written identity line, 1 to 2 minutes, 2-minute rehearsal, night sats, 30-60 seconds. Don't try to do it perfectly on day 1. The goal is consistency, built through small steps. Why this can feel faster in real life, safe translation. It's not the universe obeying. It's you reducing self-sabotage and increasing coherence, which tends to increase probabilities. Where it fails, keep it simple. It fails when you use the practice to judge yourself, pressure yourself, or deny what you feel. It works when you use it to guide state and keep one micro-commitment with dignity. If you want a simple alignment test, what did I do today that a person with higher self-worth would do? It doesn't have to be big. It has to be true. And if you can't find an answer, don't panic. Choose the smallest honest answer you can live today. 1 sentence, 1 boundary, 1 2-minute beginning. That's enough to shift the map. Then come back tomorrow and repeat the minimum. Closing, empowered, grounded. The most important line in this video is this: you don't need to become worthy. You need to stop treating yourself as unworthy. And the mirror is a place where it becomes harder to fake, which is good, because that's where truth begins. You look into your own eyes and choose a new pact. Not a pact of perfection, a pact of return. Consistency beats intensity. Small steps, repeated, become identity in practice. A pact that every day you will do one small piece of evidence that says, I exist, and I respect myself. And if one day you look and feel, I can't, remember, that is exactly the day the practice matters most. You don't need to feel love. You only need not to abandon yourself. 1 level, 1 believable line, 1 2-minute step. If this helped you, you can save this video and come back to this practice whenever you need it. If you want to go deeper, I'll leave a practical ebook with the techniques organized and links to related videos at the end of this video and in the pinned comment. It's optional, only if it makes sense for you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.